Hello and welcome to Divisive Issues, the foul-mouthed, spoilful comic book podcast where two comic fans and two non-comic fans talk about controversial comic books and comic book history. I'm Sly.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Phil.
I'm Darryl.
So we're back for our Captain Marvel Super Legacy November Spectacular.
I thought he died.
Well, now
He
we
did.
gotta talk about his legacy, like who came after Captain Marvel. And like I said
Oh,
last
you mean
time,
Legacy?
yeah, Legacy the character, which is part
yeah.
of Captain Marvel's overall legacy. Because like I mentioned before, there's 7 Captain Marvels. And we're going to talk about 3 of them. One before she became Captain Marvel, and 2 of them as they became Captain Marvel.
We're going to talk about my favorite Captain Marvel.
So I just
One of
want to
these.
state just real quick. Do you guys feel like the Earth needed a Captain Marvel after he died? Because I kind of don't.
No, so that's a very good point. And when we talk about next week, they actually play on the joke that no one really needed Captain Marvel in the comics. Because, like I said, these books always get canceled. No one ever buys them. Even now, no one's buying Captain Marvel. She's getting canceled. The books are not that good. Like, all it is just this marketing push. Like, if Marvel was being not a capitalist piece of shit, they'll give the rights back to DC and, like, let it die. Like, because it's
Why give it back to DC? Like, do they need Shazam to return to Captain Marvel?
well, I don't need it, but, like, they're the ones that did a better job of it. Like, everyone that wants Shazam, no one gives a shit about DC's Marvel's Captain Marvel.
I'm pretty sure since Carol Danvers took over as Captain Marvel, just like, in like 2012 or 2013,
Yeah.
she's had 4 different number ones.
I think it's more than that, even.
Wow.
it might be 5 at this
That's-
point.
It's because it's not an interesting character idea.
Yeah, there's no
No interesting power, and I guess I'll have to see what they do.
No,
with,
I think
Carol
there
later.
is one of these Captain Marvels has an interesting power.
Yes.
And it's not done well
Yeah.
in the issue that we read at least.
Yes. There's the problem for my part. I think one of the problems is there is no central core concept to the character. Originally, it was
What about Kree Man landing on Earth?
Yeah, no, it's a good
Boom,
point. Like,
got him.
you can distill Spider-Man's essence into my uncle got shot.
responsibility. Like his powers are very condensed. Like he can climb walls like a spider, shoot webs. Like
How do I shot web?
That's definitely more. Spider-Man's a lot more interesting than just like I fly well and sometimes I have lasers.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I do think it's
don't.
unfair to be like, this character's bad because they're not as good as one of the greatest
no,
characters
but the
ever
thing is,
made.
like they always try to make Captain Marvel the next big thing. But like,
Yeah.
you could tell even by these characters because there's
Death's Head 2 is more better and necessary.
is
Ryan.
more better.
yeah, but one thing you'll notice there's there's very little through line between all these interpretations.
Oh, that
Yes.
is certainly true.
It's like
Yeah.
there's no concept carrying on. There's like I made it for like November partly because there really is no Legacy the Captain Marvel license. It's like always been half-assed.
It's always Sly with the twist that he doesn't want to tell us about.
Yeah. See, I picked this idea because it's the opposite of what you thought it was.
Yeah.
Burning expectation, motherfuckers. So we're gonna start with Miss Marvel. So Miss Marvel is created.
Wait,
Kamala
I thought we were
Khan?
reading Captain Marvel, not Miss Marvel.
All right, so this is why it's so fucking weird. So Miss Marvel was Carol Danvers, we mentioned before in the last episode. She was on Captain Marvel's the military base he hung out with as his secret identity. She got fired because they didn't want
Because she couldn't figure out his identity.
Yeah, and then I don't know how many years, 1977. I don't know how many years from Captain Marvel's creation that was, but like however many years later, they brought Carol Danvers back. They brought back this random Captain Marvel secondary character, decided to make her the new lib movement heroine and tie her to the Spider-Man universe.
Now, one thing I do want to say that Miss Marvel is actually a really interesting character
Yes.
at the time because she was one of the first like real pushes for like a 70s women lib character.
Yes.
And she's actually named Miss Marvel after Miss Magazine. And I have read a lot more modern Miss Marvel, like around like the Civil War era, and I actually really, really like that book a lot. But I've never read any of the classic stuff, and after this issue, I think that's okay.
See, the thing about Miss Marvel is, her being tied to Captain Marvel is super pointless, and she's stronger on her. Later on, she makes identity more into her own thing. Like it's like a kind of a trivia
Yeah.
note that she was Captain Marvel spin-off. Like Captain Marvel shows up in the series once in this entire series. There's no series.
I think that's why I like her later series better when it's not grounded in
Yeah.
like Captain Marvel stuff, because she's basically this like old hero who retired for a while, fell into alcoholism, and then like worked her way up over that, and then like got an insight into an alternate reality where she wasn't like a mess.
Yeah.
And then like was inspired by that to like get her shit together and become a superhero again. And like that's a lot more interesting than just like it's like Captain Marvel but a lady.
We'll get back to Carol more fully later on, but this is just her in back when she was just Captain Marvel but a lady. So
Yeah. And on the cover, Miss Marvel, fabulous first issue. This female fights back.
yeah.
And they say,
pretty good
since
tagline.
Sly said about it being a Spider-Man thing, it's like, at last, a bold new superheroine in the sense-stunning tradition of Spider-Man.
And they have all, Peter
So,
Parker,
still-
J. Jonah Jameson, Mary Jane Watson's head floating around, Miss Marvel flying around.
Still
And-
subservient to patriarchy.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Great, but great.
So yeah, this is Miss Marvel #1, written by Jerry Conway with art by John Buscema. This is like a very 70s Marvel creative team.
Jerry Conway's the guy who killed off Gwen Stacy. He's one of the biggest Spider-Man writers of all time. So
Really.
Yeah, he also made The Punisher, everyone's favorite character, Firestorm.
It's weird because I feel like he was really channeling Stan Lee with this.
yeah,
issue.
it does feel very Stanley. And but I also want to note real quick because they pointed out in the letters pages about this. For a feminist hero, she wears hot pants and a belly shirt. So
Yeah, she has a
yeah.
midriff showing, so it's like, okay.
eventually they get rid of the belly shirt and just have her just a full cloth outfit. But like, it's just funny to think about.
So dumb. She's easy on the eyes, guys, so don't worry about liking feminism.
Man.
Hey, it's a path in for some people. And so the title of this issue is "This Woman, This Warrior." Like it reminded me of "This Man, This Monster."
Yeah, they did a lot.
Ah,
Very
yeah.
Stanley.
I remember a comic title. Basically, it starts out with a bank robbery happening, and
These guys have pantyhose on their head, but it looks like they just have
mummies.
saran wrap. Yeah.
and they're shooting the cops too at the bank too. So it's like they're not just like running for it; they're like shooting people.
Yeah, well, now you're gonna die. I told you to say back creeps, and
Yeah.
Miss Marvel flies in.
Yep,
They
she
make
flies
it
in.
very clear right away. They're like, "Who's this? Some dame in a costume?"
Yeah, they lay it on really thick. They're like, a woman could, even a superhero woman couldn't pick up this car as we drive away. And she's like,
I like that they approach the thing that Phil always has a problem with, where it's like, how do people like not believe that there's all these superheroes? Or this guy goes, like, he gets in the car to go away, the thug, and he goes, "This is New York, you bozo. Ain't you never seen a superhero before?" To his friend.
Yeah.
And he says, "So she's strong. Somewhat. Once I get in this car, started, ain't nobody gonna." And then she picks up the car, and it's like, it's so dumb that they address where it's
I
like,
know.
there's superheroes everywhere, but my car will get away.
and I'm gonna rob a bank in the middle of this city with
And
a
there's
thousand
a lot of talking like in these pages now. By the way,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we know so far we know that she can fly, she's super strong, and then she senses someone behind her with her seventh sense. So I guess that's one of her powers, is that she has a seventh sense.
just Spidey sense again. It's just like,
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Spider sense, but then I was like, cosmic awareness.
Yeah. But what's the sixth sense?
Yeah.
They around this time they announced that human beings have the ability of telepathy. Rick Jones unlocked at some point. It's not worth getting into.
Who unlocked it?
It's Rick Jones.
Jones!
During the Kree Skrull War. Human
Did
beings-
you forget Captain Marvel's best friend?
I remember
already?
him. Rick James, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, humanity has innate telepathy. I don't know if that's still canon anymore. But
Oh, that's canon in XCOM universe, so it's probably canon here too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
okay.
she beats up
So-
the dogs.
Yeah, she beats them up, and she keeps doing, like it's a lot of the dialogue is very much like, I've never seen strong women before, and then a young girl in the crowd is watching, and she's like, I want to be just like her when I grow up, and the mom is like,
Yeah.
It's very drilled into your head that this is the woman's lip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a little dig at DC here, I think, because they're like, I've seen Tough, but that little lady makes Linda Carter look like olive oil, and Linda Carter was in the Wonder Woman TV show at this point.
Yeah.
So I think they're just like, hey,
Oh.
we have a better superheroine than
it's a
Just like they're
Wonder
doing
Woman.
right now with the movie Captain Marvel. Hey, DC, we got Wonder Woman. We got this character no one knows named Captain Marvel.
Yeah. Little girls are gonna be like, I want to grow up and be like her.
One thing I do want to say, I think that this is, especially in 1976, great push for Marvel to have of like having young girls get inspired by superheroes, but having it be written by like an old white guy who's really heavy-handed with it, that is what I'm mocking here.
The old white guy, there's an asterisk in his name in the credits, and it says with more than a little aid and abetment from Carla Conway. So
well, I doubt she scripted the issue.
Oh, who knows?
Who knows?
Aid and abetment.
Maybe.
What does that mean here?
Aid and abetted legally. So it cuts to an inside of a bank nearby. The Scorpion.
I hate his fucking outfit. Scorpion's robbing the bank. He was all distraction, all according to Kaiku.
All right, so this outfit is all green and like stripes on it. I love the Scorpion. I will not defend his costume.
It's like a green mummy, but like his eyes are out.
Yes.
Especially for the Scorpion, it's funny that the costume's so dumb because his whole premise is that he's stuck in this dumb costume.
Yes, I'm about to say that. I was saying, I think, like, Phil, you think it's dumb. Imagine you had to live like him. Like, he's pissed off. Like, I have to live like this every day. Like, kill me, please. That's why he's pissed off in this whole comic.
And then also, I do love this. Not only did she just throw that car and stuff, but people in the streets are like, "This is a publicity stunt. This can't be real."
Yeah.
And then the cops show up and try to.
I will defend. They do this a lot in noise comics, and if this was before 2016, I would have not bought it. I completely bought that. People would be like, "I see this thing for me. Fake news."
No, not when there's like superheroes every day. This is just like so.
But people are like, superheroes are fake news later on. We'll see in Spider-Man.
I don't know. I feel like, not to get super dark, but like I heard two different people on the internet saying that the shooting this morning was a false flag and fake news. So you know
But
what?
no one who is there is like it's a false flag. Like imagine being there.
Not in the 70s, guys.
Okay, so then the
I
cops
think this is ahead of its time, everybody.
the cops try to bring her in from questioning, and she's like, "See ya, I can fly," and she leaves. And then she
Poor
goes
cops.
back to. Then it cuts to the Daily Bugle, and J. Jonah Jameson's like,
Yeah.
"We need pictures of her." And again, he's asking the
Spider-Man. We need pictures of this woman.
yeah.
Yeah.
Again, he's asking the superhero's secret identity to take pictures of the superhero.
But the twist here throughout this is that Carol Danvers does not actually know she's Captain Marvel because she passes out and then she becomes
Miss Marvel.
Yes.
Miss Marvel, excuse
Yeah,
me.
I wanna-
very different.
I wanna bring that
different
up.
character, trademark, do not steal.
Yeah, I want to bring that up real quick because that seems to be the plot of the movie. Like in the movie, it seems
Really?
like she's like, I'm a Kree warrior, and then like I think I have memories of being human once. So it seems like they're kind of going with that premise, which I find funny because I don't think there's anyone who's a loyalist to this particular era of Captain Marvel.
Also, for what it's worth, Jerry Conway, like, I don't think it's handled very well in this issue, and then he just did kind of the exact same thing with Firestorm later, but way better.
I didn't think
That's
about
Jerry
that.
Conway. But so J. Jonah Jameson lays it on so thick where he's like,
So
I
thick.
need pictures of her, but not for our newspaper, for our women's magazine, you know, with like fashion and women careers and shopping.
Diets, recipes.
Yeah, and Carol Danvers is like, I'll be the editor for this job, but I'm not doing any of this bullshit. I'm gonna write
Yeah.
real articles, and it's like, okay.
And then she argues her salary, and he's like, oh, it's 20,000. She's like 30, 22, 30, and she gets her 30,000, and he goes, oh, rumph.
Yeah.
How can I argue with a woman? How can
Yep.
I argue money with a woman? And then I don't think these characters matter.
No, it's Peter Parker and Mary Jane,
it's
Spider-Man.
Peter Parker.
He doesn't
Phil.
matter.
Yeah, it's not, but anyway, there's like happen to sell this book to hype it up. That
Yeah,
look,
that's the thing that Marvel did a lot. They introduced this new book, and then they're like, but you know, you need a reason to buy it, so we put Spider-Man and MJ.
Yeah.
on
But
it.
we don't
If
do
you
anything of
like
consequence to the
Spider-Man.
story besides be like, we're also in the building with Carol Danvers. Meanwhile, so while that's happening, Scorpion meets
Some monkey doctor in a basement.
The Scorpion goes to some
I
basement.
have a quick question about Carol. Do they explain why they hired an old army captain to be the editor of a magazine?
She wrote a book.
She became a writer after she got fired, and now
Yeah.
she has all the military secrets. And she's a
So
fucking
she
spy.
wrote about it.
Yeah. No, but she has experience in the security field, and she wrote about her experience as a security officer.
Yeah.
It's funny because she was a terrible one, but they still
Still
people
don't know if
love
that would translate to editing a
Yes,
women's
I really think
It
it's
wouldn't.
bullshit. Especially since apparently she's so in demand that she can demand her salary to J. Jonah Jameson, who probably has way more talent lined up for him.
This is the American dream, though, is you go out there and you get the job you want, like Carol did.
It's so funny that she's just like, give me all this money, when like Spider-Man has been fighting with J. Jonah Jameson for money for decades.
But that's because she's a strong,
like, I
independent
want more
woman.
money.
She
He's
doesn't
like,
take no
fine.
bullshit from
Yeah,
anyone.
strong, powerful woman, Ryan.
Anyway, the Scorpion's buying a secret death layer. Like, you can buy that from someone.
Yeah.
He goes,
Yeah.
he's like, oh, here's the key.
From the monkey doctor.
So he robbed the bank to,
I think
to
this
buy.
guy's the disintegrator. He has a big laser on his head in the next issue.
Yeah.
Kerwin Corman?
I'm the disintegrator. I sell real estate on the side. In this economy.
Anyway, Carol Danvers is talking to Mary Jane. She's smoking Mary Jane, am I right?
Oh, sorry, it's actually the Destructor. I gotta get it right.
Okay,
Destructor.
She gets a really bad headache. She's like, but ever since the past few weeks, I've been having these really terrible migraines. You better go. And at the same time, the Scorpion is kidnapping J. Jonah Jameson in the middle of the city because he hates him so much.
So J. Jonah Jameson, the Scorpion's backstory is that J. Jonah Jameson paid him to get put in this costume and go fight Spider-Man, and then he got stuck in the costume forever, so he just fucking hates J. Jonah Jameson.
I feel so bad for this guy, actually.
That's why I love Scorpion, because every time the comics see somebody who would just be like, I'm a mess, I'm a fucking wretch, fucking mess. Like, it's always
You
a
can
Scorpion.
relate.
It's just I'm a Scorpion. It's me, my life. Yes.
He flies trapped in his body, just like the Scorpion.
Out of all the comics you read, he is actually the most sympathizable character.
Yeah, I agree. And someone, as he's stealing away J. Jonah Jameson, someone in the street's like, what's he going to do to that man? And he thinks to himself, if you only knew, Buster, you'd thank God you're not J. Jonah Jameson. Because of him, I'm a monster. Matt Gargan is dead. And J. Jonah Jameson is my murderer. And in this court, the penalty for murder is death.
Death.
I think that's pretty awesome. I'm like into this monologue.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Some other stuff happens where now Captain Marvel, or Miss Marvel, is flying around the city saying, my 7th sense warned me that Jameson was going to be kidnapped. Like, while you were a different person? Like, how does that work?
Ryan's right. This is cosmic awareness shit. Everyone had cosmic awareness.
It is cosmic awareness, yeah.
But it's weird because I thought cosmic awareness only applied to yourself. Like, she's seeing J. Jonah Jameson getting captured.
I think this goes away after she stops being Miss Marvel, so I don't think it really matters that much.
Yeah, even like in the 2000 series, I don't remember her having a 7th sense. I just remember her being strong and drunk.
Okay.
And then the cops again show up to try to question her, and she flies away again.
They show up really fast. Like, they show up right to the bugle. Sorry, flying to that building, and we got here just in time. Got all the way to the top of this 20-story building.
There's an APB out for her.
Well, no,
Miss
for what it's
Marvel.
worth, they said like, oh, did you follow her in here? And they said, actually, we were following the Scorpion.
I see.
Yeah.
Into this building.
And then they do this dumb thing where she flies past Carol Danvers' bedroom, which is shadowed and empty.
Yeah, so they're still pretending that this is a secret that, this woman looks exactly like Carol Danvers but has a black mask on. Might not be Carol Danvers.
Also, Carol Danvers is the character we're also following in this book. Yeah. Obviously, it is her.
Yeah.
Then we cut to this evil layer where J. Jonah Jameson is dangling above a vat of acid.
Slowly being lowered into it as the Scorpion tells him his life story.
We get a
and
really
how
great slide
things-
panel here. Look at me! Look at me! I'm a freak. And they give some backstory of like, you remember when you did this to me? And he really is like, I'll never feel love all because of you. I've heard this
Miss
for a long
Marvel
time.
like flies in here, and then she like has to bypass all the
Wait,
laser
you missed the
stuff by
best
Monkey
line
Doctor.
when he says, "Don't worry, Jonah. The liquid in that vat is acid. It won't kill you much."
And this is like, she just breaks in and fights him. It's very boring, actually.
Yeah, the only thing interesting that happens is like the whole time she's just like, I am a member of the Kree. I am a woman born, and the guy's like, you're crazy. You're a fucking human being. I could tell.
Yeah, Scorpion's like, you're lying to me. You're not Kree.
And he's like, you don't even have an accent. And then I'm wondering, like, what kind of accent do the Kree have?
Yeah, I wondered that too.
Yeah, and she's like, I'm also have total amnesia. And Scorpion's like, you don't remember your past? Bunk.
Yeah, it's actually pretty funny how they're like, he's like talking to her about her life.
I like that
Like,
she's
just the
telling this
weirdest
random
expositor.
villain about her life. Like, I have no idea who I am. She's punching him. And he's like, that's
Yeah.
stupid. You're stupid, Miss Marvel.
As she's swinging him, she's saying, I haven't once thought about my blackout spells or about my complete lack of memory. Maybe I've literally while they're fighting, she's like, whatever. And then she throws him into acid and he melts again and burns. And
Yeah,
it's like,
he's melting.
really fucked up.
Like, it's so tragic that she's like, oh my god, that poor man, as he's running away screaming in
Yeah,
agony.
even she's like, "Oh, what have I done?"
But then she doesn't think about it that long.
Yeah.
She just breaks Jonah Jameson out.
That's it.
Yeah,
She's
there's
like,
like-
I'm Miss
yeah,
Marvel.
No, then she tells Jonah Jameson, "I've decided you can call me Miss Marvel." And Jonah's like, "What?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "My costume ties me to Captain Marvel in a way I don't yet understand. Till I do understand, I'll need a name, and Miss Marvel is as good as any."
Fuck.
Yeah, and the last page is her like going to J. Jonah Jameson, and she's like, "I wonder who Miss Marvel is. Who the fuck is Miss Marvel? What's happening to my Black Cat? This is such a great mystery. I wonder if readers will figure this out after the first 5 pages."
I do love that, and she even says, "Wow, when she mentioned Miss Marvel, now I felt a weird chill, as though someone had stepped on my grave."
And when she gets to the Daily Bugle as Miss Marvel, she's like, "Why does this place seem so familiar?"
Yeah, it's so
heavy-handed.
I really, yeah.
So, speaking of Spider-Man, we're gonna get to the second Captain Marvel.
Wait, as I have an interesting tidbit. So I was like, how does she have these powers? How is she related to Captain Marvel? And it's the next issue that reveals how she's related. It's that an alien machine exploded while Captain Marvel was holding Carol Danvers, and it like burst his radiation onto her.
It's exactly how Superman got back his powers, Return of Superman, when the Eradicator got radiation shot through him and it went into Superman.
It's exactly how Spider-Man killed Mary Jane.
Exactly.
Burst into her.
Yeah, his radiation burst into her.
So
it was so it's just so dumb.
Yes, don't-
and
like-
it's funny because
yes.
she does it to like a hypnotist, and the whole time the hypnotist is like, she's crazy. Like, how is she related to this woman that just showed up?
Yeah, I find it funny because I feel bad for the writers of the movie because they have to try to incorporate her backstory when her backstory is never the reason why anyone gives a shit about Miss Marvel. Like this is not the reason why people like Carol.
Yeah.
But moving on, we're going into the second Captain Marvel, which is not Carol. It is
Yeah, so we're jumping into Amazing
Oh,
Spider-Man.
Rick Jones.
Yeah, Rick Jones. We're jumping into Amazing Spider-Man Annual 16 from 1982. This is Roger Stern and both John Romita Jr. and John Romita Sr. And I had read this earlier, and fun fact, Monica Rambeau is my favorite Captain Marvel.
Well, we're going to my favorite Captain Marvel right after this, but I do like Monica as well.
Oh no.
Yes.
Oh no. Oh god.
Yes.
My favorite is dead.
My favorite's that one. So this is once again tying Captain Marvel to Spider-Man in a weird way. It's not a very natural fit, in my opinion, but whatever.
No, and also I think this issue is incredibly boring.
This intro is so weird.
Yes.
This is also 50 pages, so it's boring and it's long
Yes.
boring.
It like never ends.
So the reason why it's one of those weird comics where all it is to hype up another character, and we have another example of it right after this one. But it's a Spider-Man annual, but it's just here to hype up the new Captain Marvel. Monica Rambeau, who's a black cop from Louisiana.
Who's that lady?
New Orleans.
Who's that lady? That's the
Is
title of the
name of
book.
the
And the only reason Spider-Man's here is just to follow around, because he's walking.
Oh my god, and it's the worst possible way, because he's like, he sees her and it's like, wow, she's stunning. It's like, I better follow her, because I've never seen like anyone as out and out beauty before.
And
It's
he
like, I better
even he
keep my-
literally has an appointment that he has to make, and he's like,
yeah, it's
I'd
like,
rather
I just want to follow
miss
her
the
because
bus.
she's beautiful.
To
Yeah,
be
'cause
fair,
she's,
he is getting a spider sense tingle from her, but it is very creepy.
That's a boner.
Three
Sly.
different times he talks about how attractive she
Yes.
is. Check out this lovely
Also,
lady.
you know what line hasn't aged well? I better check out this lovely lady from a discreet distance, of course. Don't want her to think I'm some sort of pervert. That is like
I
the
better follow her, but
definition.
not
To
get
be fair to
caught.
Peter Parker here, this is how
Don't.
Roger Stern wrote every character. Like, he made Monica Rambeau into a Mary Sue. People always argue about that term. I read Avengers vs. X-Men, which has Monica in it, and like Magneto and like Wolverine, every other character would be like, "Hey, let's look at Captain Marvel. She's so pretty. She's so cool." Every character does that. Like, it's very over the top. Like,
Also, you're telling me you wouldn't hang from walls and watch Pretty Women?
I would, but
Yeah.
I expect better.
But
Peter Parker.
Sly's not a hero.
I
Sly's
got
a
better
villain.
things to do.
Sly
with
would be
my
the
time.
scorpion hanging from his tail.
I think it's more. I'm just saying it's more. I think it's more a product of Roger Stern trying to hype up how cool and sexy and like great this character is.
What moves the story forward is that she starts walking down a bad district, and Spider-Man's like, "Oh, I better follow her because New Yorkers know better than to stroll through this neighborhood." And
Yeah, to
what
prove
a,
he's
what
not
a, like
sexist.
kind of like shit world with like 200 superheroes appearing like every day. You still have streets that people are guaranteed to get robbed.
Well,
in.
to me, like that's another.
This was like 80s.
Yeah,
New
this
York,
is
though.
because like it's always a question of how much you reflect like the logical progression and how much you want to reflect the real world, because it's supposed to be still the real world as with superheroes and not like this futuristic cyber future. Like
I just still love the idea that Peter Parker sees her walking down the street and he's like, "Oh, she's definitely gonna get mugged. I better stop her." It's like you gotta fix this street if people are getting robbed in broad daylight.
I buy into this, like your argument, Darryl, because Phil says this all the time. Like, if you lived in Marvel New York City with the with the Fantastic Four, the Avengers, Spider-Man, Daredevil, all these heroes, why would you do crime?
Yeah, the Giuliani wouldn't have been the one to work on this.
But this is like a problem we've come up with like after the fact. Like the point wasn't to be like, let's create a logical world. The point is to have a wish fulfillment. Like, what if superheroes were real?
Yeah, but in this world, there is the Fantastic Four and the Avengers and everyone in it, and they're all kind of just like sitting around not doing much.
No, they explained that the Fantastic Four is on honeymoon.
You're all going to nitpick everything with me for the rest of time now.
Okay.
Lex wins.
They do explain that the Fantastic Four is on anniversary, which is important later on because they can't help Monica with a problem. Yeah, so Spider-Man goes to help her with these muggers, but she can fight herself. Spider-Man goes to try to tap her on the shoulder, and she zaps him because she thinks he's another mugger. She doesn't even look behind her. Like, she's like, I'm going to obliterate the next person I see with my fucking solar powers.
What it's worth there, though, a bunch of guys just grabbed her and all pulled out knives. If somebody grabbed my shoulder, I would do that too. She's in the middle of a fight for her life.
I know, but it's like she is super fucking lucky she's not a murderer right now. Like good luck. Like,
I mean, she didn't zap him that hard, I guess, right?
But it's Spider-Man.
No, she says I could have killed him.
Yeah, and Spider-Man.
And Spider-Man's super strong.
Spider-Man has super
I don't know.
endurance.
I feel like a bunch of muggers that are like hitting on, and they say like, "You're so pretty, we're gonna cut you up." I feel like she could kill them. That's okay.
They weren't willing to go that far. They just have her just knock him out for now. And since she puts on her disco costume after Spider-Man's knocked out, it looks like a disco costume because it's white and black with like pirate boots on,
and it's very like loose.
Yeah,
like it's like there's just a lot of like hanging fabric all over it.
It's not. She has like weird like wings between the wrists of her.
Very pointless
thing to her back.
Very pointless wings because she turns into energy as she flies. It's not like to improve her. So her powers are basically she turns into energy. Like it's very like overpowered power, and it freaks out Spider-Man because in a second she's able to fly over to like the Empire State Building, and like in the blink of an eye. And while she's on the Empire State Building, she flags back to when she was a cop in Louisiana. They wouldn't give her the rank of captain because she's a woman. So she's like, fuck this.
And what was funny is, like, because she becomes Captain Marvel, I didn't piece it together. That's like, we're not going to let you be captain. And then she eventually becomes it. But the story does spell it out.
She does become a captain of that boat.
That's what I'm saying. The story spells it out at one point where it's just like, I don't need to be captain anymore because I'm my own captain.
I'm like, Captain Marvel.
Subtle.
Yeah, and so it turns out, like, this professor that was friends with her grandfather... like found a way to create like energy from another dimension or some.
He really just shows up and is like, "Hey, here."
Yeah, I knew your grandfather. I'm a scientist that made a big machine that makes a giant portal of energy to another universe.
He gave it. The fucking scientist gave it to a fucking dictator, and the dictator wants to use for evil. Wow, shock.
Yeah, the scientist is like, "What have I done?"
Yeah, and she's like, "I will help you. I'm me. This lone cop will help you stop this dictator." And they go on the boat, and he keeps calling her Capitan, and he's like, "Oui, mon Capitan," to her, and she's like, "I'm not."
She's like fucking Coast Guard too. She's like, and she's like, "I'm just gonna by myself go investigate this oil rig." And as she gets there, there's just 1,000 guys with like future helmets and guns.
No, but she has a master plan,
and she's like, "I'm just gonna go in."
Her master plan is to get into her bikini and to make them all go, "Wow, look at those gams."
Not only that, so she goes to this military base and she's in a bikini and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna sunbathe here," and they go, "Caramba!"
And so everyone's like, "Wow, those gams!" And they let her on the boat. And the dictator is like, "Your gams gives you permission to enter my boat, my private security boat." And then alarm goes off, and all of a sudden he starts saying, "You must have caused this, you fucking."
While they're having a picnic on the helipad.
Yeah, you trollop, you've ruined my fucking plans, and they find out. The scientist was trying to break in while she was distracting them.
I love that. Just this poor feeble old man. He's like, "I'll do it myself."
Yeah.
And he gets caught. And as soon as she arrives, he calls her out too. He's like, "Forgive me, Monica."
Yeah.
And the dictator's like, "Oh, so you were in on it."
Yeah. So then the dictator created an energy screen to guard the radiation.
Guys, I don't think this is the dictator. I'm sorry to say. This is the old man scientist's apprentice that is working for the dictator.
Okay. Good for calculation because I didn't think enough to pay attention.
Yeah, it definitely matters. This guy definitely exists in other issues.
Yeah. So
he must. He's Dr. Picaro.
So Monica breaks free and destroys the screen and lets out energy to try
a screen.
It looks like a fucking screen door too.
It does.
Yeah, it really
This
does.
is so weird because she gets teleported away in a beam of light. And she gets teleported away to like a clothes warehouse just so she can pick up her costume and teleport back.
Yeah, and she saves everyone. She saves the scientist from the dictator guy. Because the dictator guy's trying to keep shooting the scientist over and over again. And she keeps blocking the bullets.
I love that she stops to design a costume in this warehouse.
Yes.
Yeah, real
So
quick.
good.
While this guy's getting shot, this poor scientist is getting shot.
But maybe if I combine parts of a couple of outfits, I'll come up with something decent enough to be seen in. Like, who fucking cares?
Yeah, and the scientist, as she's rescuing the scientist and all the other people by teleporting them to the shore, the scientist keeps calling her Capitan, and I don't know what the nationality are. It's some kind of Hispanic nation, I'm assuming. And they're like...
Capitan es Maravilla, which is like, she's a marvelous captain.
Yeah, Capitan es Maravilla! Captain es Maravilla!
Yeah.
And now on the newspaper it says, Captain Marvel saves a boat. Who is Captain Marvel and stuff like that. And so the scientist gives her this newspaper revealing this the day after, and he gives her back her costume. Like she like ditched it after that one day. She put it together in lieu of saving people. She ditched it, I guess.
But this time, it's a copy fabricated from unstable molecules.
Yeah, so he's like, now I'll travel with you and stuff. No, this is a slight aside, but I was just thinking how, like, in this world, in this Marvel universe, I'm pretty sure I would ban scientists from working.
Yeah, you probably should. You probably should.
Because this guy made a dimensional, like, she had the closest energy gate that was going to destroy the entire universe.
Yes, every
And it's like-
scientist in Marvel has the ability to destroy the universe. Everyone.
This guy literally, and the two of them, the old scientist and this guy, made this
Yeah.
in some dictator's, like, third world country lab. Like,
Yeah.
like so whatever resources they had was enough to just open a gate to another dimension. Like,
yeah.
how could every country in the world not be developing these world-ending weapons?
That's what I'm saying. Is that
Maybe
you
that's
can't-
why they are.
You can't think too hard from this because this is just pulp, like fantasy stuff. Like
Yeah.
Like now, like the movies and stuff, they're trying to make it more consistent and stuff. But like they didn't have the concern back then. It was just like, what if superheroes real? And what if like somebody-
What if one scientist could make a world-destroying weapon?
Have you heard of Oppenheimer, Darryl? Fuck me.
Oh, true.
So she hands in her badge and she's, I'm Captain myself. Fuck you. And that ends the flashback. So that kind of ends the relevant parts of this issue. The rest of the issue is pretty much Spider-Man chasing after Captain Marvel because it turns out she's about to explode because she doesn't know how to control powers.
And at one point, they have like this whole filler section where he goes up to the top of the Empire State Building to see her, and she was looking through one of those, the eye... I don't know what that thing is. The looking...
Those like binoculars.
Yeah, and then it closes, and Spider-Man needs to know what she's looking at, but he doesn't have a quarter, and he has to talk to this kid about a quarter, and the kid's like stand on the wall, and I was just like, you are wasting my time with this.
Well, first the kid's like, "You're not really Spider-Man. My dad says that's fake news." Another precursor to the modern age.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, "Yeah, prove it." And that's when he climbs up the wall, and it's so.
It's just such a way. It's definitely here to pad out the rest of the issue to make it feel like you really got your money's worth from this.
And the rest of the issue is filler already. Like,
Yes.
all it is like, it's gonna be over. The only reason why it drags out so long is because Spider-Man thinks she's a bad guy now because she's about to explode. And the thing's like, you're an idiot. But before, like, she goes to the thing and says, "I'm about to explode. Help me."
Yeah,
Thing's
where's
like, "I can't help you."
Reed?
Yeah, but the reason I hear, go to Avengers, and then when she goes to Avengers,
So the only thing that I like about the scene is Ben, she's like, "Oh, I'm Captain Marvel," and Ben's like, "Not unless he came back from the dead. Marv died months ago, and he was a blonde." And then she's just like, "Oh, there was another Captain Marvel. I didn't know. I'm so sorry." And he's like, "Don't worry about it."
yeah, it doesn't matter. And so she goes to Avengers. She short circuits Iron Man by accident, and then Spider-Man attacks her and knocks her out, and she's about to explode. So Iron Man's like, "You fucking idiot, Spider-Man."
I have a real quick question. At one point, Jarvis, the butler of the Avengers, says, "I don't like to trust this spider person." I'm like, wasn't Spider-Man around for a while?
Now with the movies and stuff, take for granted that Spider-Man joins the Avengers and stuff like that. For the longest time, he was always a loner, and no one knew what his deal
But
was. He's always
wasn't he like? Oh, okay. Because I was like, wasn't he around since like so long ago?
He was around, but like no one ever like really talked to him. Like he's always kept himself.
Yeah.
And so, also Jarvis, by the way, calls Monica Trollop. Shameless Trollop. The other Avengers outlets attack going unanswered, and he goes to Spider-Man. I said, "Beat up that Trollop, Spider-Man." And so then Iron Man has to try to jury rig thing to try to stop her from overloading. She joins the Avengers. Spider-Man goes back to his appointment.
Oh, so boring.
Yeah, so boring. And that ends the issue. Doesn't matter. Let's move on.
He says.
Captain Esmavilla.
So Monica was never popular enough to get her own series, but she did have a few one-shots, including the one we're talking about next, which was after she already was like on the outs as Captain Marvel, because the next Captain Marvel was already created, And she was very depowered at this point. Like she could no longer turn to energy anymore. Now she could only emit energy. So she basically strained her powers after an event, and she basically kind of semi-retired. And this is like a side story during that semi-retirement.
Yeah, so this is by Dwayne McDuffie and some 90s
That's
guy.
like 90s art. Yeah.
It's very 90s art.
MD
Yeah,
Bright.
MD Bright.
This is the 90s stuff now. This is like 95.
Yeah.
94, I think this one.
Yeah.
Dwayne McDuffie was one of like the most prominent black writers, especially at this time when there wasn't that many. You probably know him best because he created Static Shock.
Oh.
He created a whole slew of black characters for DC. So he was like the only like person pushing like black heroes in comics, so it's interesting that there's all these actual they don't censor slurs or do any dancing around issue. They say slurs like they say
I was really surprised.
they say the N word, but like I guess since it's a black guy
They
writing
blur it out, but they
say the female version of the N word.
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
So this is Captain Marvel Volume 2, Issue 2 or something. I don't know. It's from February 94. And so it starts with there's these two Chinese college students running from these like bald purple guys with energy spears chasing them. And the thing that immediately stood out to me is they're using like real racial slurs in this book.
Yes, real ones.
And they're calling them like Jap parasites and all these other horrible things. And like they run to escape. And this is when Monica shows up and like blasts them and saves these people, and they're like, I don't even know why they were coming after us. They kept yelling that we're Japanese, but we're Chinese.
Yeah, and these guys even like yell when she's going to like fight them too. They ask, why are you protecting these Japs? After all, they hurt black folks too, trying to buy up the country, taking all the university spaces away from average students.
And so they're fighting, and meanwhile, like as they're fighting, he keeps saying like, it figures that you're still fighting. Your kind is always ignorant of the way things are. That's why you were so easily conquered and enslaved. Like, it's not. There's no beating around the bush here.
Yeah. There's no dog whistles.
Yeah, there's no dog whistles here. She still has, like, the energy powers, and she, like, there's some cool artifacts where she, like, uses this, like, energy beam from her eyes, and it, like,
to superheat,
charges up his
his
staff.
staff so that he lets go
Yeah, she
of
microwave radiations his staff so that it conducts, and then he fries him.
Yeah, and then she knocks them out, and the cops come and arrest them, and they're just like guys in costumes.
White guys in costumes.
And one of the guys,
white
the Asian guy that was attacked, saying, "This made no sense. We're Chinese, not Japanese." And this girl is like, "That's so stupid to say. You're so stupid."
Yeah, that was a somewhat inane comment, and then Monica goes, "This attack had an inane motivation." Pretty good.
And they're like, "This happens all the time lately." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like, because it's not just like someone writing a slur on the bathroom stall. Like they're using energy staffs
and like attempted murder.
and like they're
Also,
really
by the way,
powerful.
you guys are saying, "Oh, why isn't things upgrading to go along superheroes?" They do talk about here how now Monica says, "I never fight regular hoops anymore. Everyone has like energy beams and like energy armor now."
But she's also surprised that this kind of ignorance exists on a college campus. And the reason why I bring that up is because I feel like that's still such a big thing now. It's like these college campuses.
So liberal.
You know, yeah. But then she goes back to her apartment, and when she lands there's a special agent, Derek Freeman, there from the FBI. And he's like, I already know who you are. You're Monica, so we could cut this whole secret identity
Need you
thing.
to investigate Martin Luther King Jr. like the FBI did.
Yeah, that's one thing I like to acknowledge that like Monica's like, "I will never help the FBI, fuck you," and the guy's like, "No, FBI's different now."
He's black, and she's like, "I don't like the idea of blacks working for the FBI and spying on other blacks. You can leave."
Yeah, he asks her to spy on a guy named Washington Raymond, who
he's a black leader of
he's a black leader on campus. He's a poli-sci major. He's an activist and a student counselor. And she says, "No, I don't like the idea of blacks working for the FBI, spying on other blacks. You can leave now." And he goes, "No, I don't want you to spy. He's my nephew, and I feel like he's in danger. So this is why I didn't go through the proper channels. I'm asking you to help him out."
And we should also quickly mention that the Ray she's gonna follow, is Rocket Racer, who is a Spider-Man like ally who rides around on a rocket skateboard.
Cool 90s.
Rocket Racer.
Unfortunately, he never wears the fucking Rocket Racer costume. It's so disappointing.
I think that makes this issue a lot better. But so he explains that the racially motivated attacks on the ESU campus have been escalating, And he said he's trying to form a coalition, Ray is, between campus minority organizations and organize a night patrol to protect students from attacks. Violence motivated by race, sex, or sexual orientation is a steadily growing problem nationwide, but it's not really an FBI problem, but now we see they have all these energy beams, so we're getting more involved. And since you stopped it, I'd like you to take point on it. So he gives her a book about the people that are backing them and giving them the energy beams, the Sons of the Serpents. And she reads up on it and she goes, you know what? I'm just going to go right to the source. And she goes to the Avengers and asks, because she was on the Avengers for a long time, when Roger Stern wrote the book. Yeah, Roger Stone, my favorite Avengers writer.
That's where all the fake news stuff came from in last issue.
This is kind of just a quick scene of just her going and researching, and she's like, "Oh, they're just these white supremacists."
I don't get their name because they were talking about how the serpent led man into sin, like in the Garden of Eden.
Yeah,
but like, why?
They're the Sons of the Serpent. That's their name.
But why? Why?
Because they're the sons of people that got in bed with different minorities and stuff, I guess.
Oh yeah, because they're all like children of minorities. They're like resentful of their minority heritage, and later on.
I don't know why they call themselves the Sons of the Serpents. They're like sons of man. That like whatever.
It's a stupid name.
I think it's because serpent is serpent is such a like. There's so many serpent-based Captain America villains. Like it's a very traditional go-to move. It has serpents be the bad guy motif.
Stupid name.
Yeah, whatever. But Cap basically says like, we'd love to help you out. And she goes, no, I think I got it, but I'll call you if I need anybody. And then, come join the Avengers because your book's probably going to get canceled. And then she goes on campus, she meets Ray, and he explains that the Minority Lounge and his groups have been under like extra attack lately. In a recent issue of Spider-Man, the Afro-American Studies building was blown up by a bunch of skinheads, and they meet another activist group, and there's a rally for white people, fight for your rights.
But none of these white people, like, they all have the fucking, like, the purple.
They're all dressed up in serpent. The purple with, like, the fangs and the green gloves.
And the energy staffs. Like, where are the cops?
Not all of them. Some of them are just regular white
guys.
guys.
Yeah, there are some in the back.
But there are people with weapons on this doing this. It's not a peaceful protest. Like, where are the cops?
Yeah, and they're chanting, they're brothers unite, fight
and
for
they
what's
immediately
right.
start shooting energy plasma guns at the crowd, and it's like.
But even before that, when they're still expositing about this, she points out that they're not just attacking like this, his group. There's also been gay bashing. There's been beatings of leaders in the Asian, Black, and Jewish communities.
Yeah. They're white supremacists.
Yeah, they're white supremacists. And I just want to point out, when you say, where are the cops? I've seen recently a bunch of white supremacist rallies with AR-15s on their backs, and the cops don't stop them.
The cops are there so that if they use them, they would...
Yeah, the
cops are, as they start energy blasting, it's like, there's just no one. Like,
I don't know. Just saying, on college campuses, hate groups being escalating violence and not being stopped by the cops doesn't seem that outrageous to me.
These they're holding up signs. One of the signs says it was the serpent who defiled Eden, and another sign says snakes go home, back to Europe.
Please no steppy, snakes go home.
Whatever.
Like, is that where they were from?
But they're the sons of the whatever.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's
but they're chanting "Brothers unite, fight for what's white."
Yeah, and then we have the minorities yelling at them, calling them Nazi thugs, which I enjoyed, and you're in the wrong time and place for this shit, and racist scum.
Yeah, and so then as it escalates, Monica shows up as a superhero.
They fight. It's a short fight.
They fight. Yeah, they fight for a while.
The Sons of the Serpents escalate it, just for details.
Yep.
And then one of them turns into a fucking ooze monster.
With a little swastika next to his cheek.
Yeah. So this guy was from. I mentioned Red Racer because this was a Spider-Man comic where Spider-Man teamed with the Red Racer to fight this villain called Skinhead, who is an ooze monster with a Nazi
of
tattoo.
Names that are great, like the Sons of the Serpent, we also have Skinhead.
Yes. So now Monica Rambeau fights Skinhead, the ooze monster.
Yeah, and she gets smashed like real far away, and she's like, I gotta figure out what the deal is. By the time she goes back, he's already gone. And again, much like the last issue, the cops are like, I need a full report. And she's like, I gotta go.
But she does get info from Ray. Turns out that Ray, like you guys said, he's like, wait, cops, let me talk. I'm Rocket Racer. I have some information, and
One thing I just want to point out, I don't know why this amused me so much, but he starts expositing and she pulls out a little carton of orange juice and starts drinking it.
Yeah.
But he explains that he had fought Skinhead earlier. And then he knows who he is, so Monica goes to visit the guy's dad, who's a rabbi. And he's like, my pride in our heritage made Eddie feel like an outcast. And now he hates himself. He's like a self-hating Jewish
Jew,
kid.
yeah.
Who he's now skinhead. And Monica gives the speech. She quotes. I wish they told me which poet it was.
It
yeah,
does.
no.
It does. It's
Oh, does it?
And the title page, I think it is Audre Lorde.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Audre Lorde.
So she reads a poem by an African-American lesbian poet about how, like, I've always been told that I'm either too black or not black enough, or too much a woman or not a woman enough.
And through my lips come the voices of the ghosts of our ancestors living and moving among us.
And I really like this sentiment because, like, it reminds me a lot of, like, when Obama was too black and not black enough as a president.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like this is a really, like, important theme that I really like for Monica's character as, like, this black legacy
And
hero.
she specifically says that no one should have to be ashamed of their culture or in large part who they are.
Yeah, and she's like, let's see if we can help your son find his way. Let's work on it together. So her and his dad go back to the campus, and Ray is planning a counter rally against the, like, big hate rally. And Monica's like, I don't know if that's a good idea. That's irresponsible and dangerous. It's gonna escalate it. And he's like, no, you just handle the supervillain. We'll handle the rest. But it's important to stand up against these guys.
And they actually have all white frats joining them too now. Mm-hmm. So it's literally like everyone versus
You're building an
these ninjas.
intersectional coalition against white supremacists.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so then at this point, Skinhead bursts out as this big, like, rubber monster.
Sorry
Yes.
to go back to this, but I was so on board with this comic because there are a lot of good parallels to modern times right now.
Mm-hmm.
Up until this point where they get together and this rally, like, it looks like they are going to fight, but then the leader of the minority students is like, we're not coming here to fight. None of us did. We've all got different agendas, and God knows we all have problems with each other now and again. But it's like, you guys are the ones that are the problem. It's like, you guys gotta knock off with the hate. And then they just have some of the Sons of the Serpent just, like, take off their mask and, like, yeah, we're out of here. Like, you can just talk reason into the white supremacists.
It seems to be everyone except for Skinhead. Everyone but Skinhead takes
Yeah,
off the
they're like,
mask.
I'm done being racist. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't like that part either.
I feel like
Yeah.
this would have worked better if it was right after he turned into a big glob monster. Because then, if I was in
Potentially,
a group,
but that gets a bit down into, like, that magical, not topical, where you need, like, some crazy
it's diluting
thing.
the message with comic bullshit too much. Like,
definitely.
Yep.
So Skinhead's dad is like, please, we're as scared as you are. You've lost yourself within the hate. Please come out. And then Skinhead, like, the guy, comes out and he's like, I'm sorry, I'll renounce my Nazism. But then the blob is like, I'm still sentient. He's
I
like,
embody
"Monica."
your hatred. I won't let you go. And
Yeah,
and then Monica, I guess it's symbolic. She destroys his hatred for him by destroying the Ooze monster.
Yeah, he destroys it, and then they're like, today's alliances will evaporate, but the struggle will remain. And he does give a speech that, like, just because we beat the big monster doesn't mean that it's over. But nobody leaves here unchanged. Hopefully
Yeah.
this is the first step to,
once the ball starts rolling, it's easier to keep moving. We'll keep an eye on ourselves, face up to our inadequacies, and not blame our failures on others. And he says, hate consumes the hater and hated equally, which I also disagree with.
No, that is a Martin Luther King sentiment that when you live in hatred, it fucks up your brain too. Like,
No, I agree that it definitely destroys you, but it's like the person that's getting hated is, like, they're always...
both sides are just bad.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I didn't take it that way. Like,
Or both
I
sides suffer, whereas... Yeah.
I took it Martin Luther King way.
Like,
Yeah,
I
me too.
totally understand. I relate to, like, that the hatred's just going to eat at you.
Because this book is very clearly that the counter-protesters are right and the Nazis are bad.
Yeah.
So, like, and I really, this issue really caught me off guard because then I was like, oh, it's a 90s Captain Marvel issue. Let's see. I don't know. And then I was like, oh, this is, like, I like this a lot. So, yeah.
One touch I like really is that at the end Monica after it seems like they won, she tries to shake Skinhead's hand, and he just walks away. And she's like, "I guess we'll have to work up to that, huh?" Which I think is one of the few nice subtle touches at the end.
yeah.
I
like-
didn't
I like
even
that
see
too, actually.
that. That is
It's like
really
he's
good.
not-
That
he's
is
not
really good. I
racist
like
now.
that.
Especially after Ray's speech of like, see, you know, we're both part of this. We can do this together. And then the skinhead's still an asshole.
Because I was so concerned that it was just like brushing over. It's like, just talk to racists and then everything will be okay. But that is a really good ending to end it on. It's
Yeah.
like the guy who's literally skinhead and has a swastika carved in his eyes. Like, no.
Yeah, he's like,
So
fuck
Monica's great. So let's go back to another white male Captain Marvel.
it. Well, the best Captain Marvel, in my opinion.
Sly, why do you say that?
We'll get to it like next episode more.
Oh, God. We have more of Legacy to read?
Yes.
I just
that's
want to say
really-
before people tell us, the reason why Monica's my favorite is because of Next Wave, which is something we have to do at some point on the show. So I'm not going to get into it now.
I want to do Next Wave, but like that is too much to do just for as part of a Captain Marvel.
Yeah,
bit.
that's
Like,
a whole thing that would be
Yes.
wonderful to do.
But yeah, if you want to know why Monica Rambeau's a good character, go read Warren Ellis's Next Wave. Yes.
All right, so this is Silver Surfer. It's another, like,
And
annual.
Gambit, right? Is that Gambit over there?
Yeah. So Legacy, the character, his name is Legacy.
It's annual number 6 from
He's
1993.
fucking Gambit.
He's Gambit with Captain Marvel's colors.
When you showed me, when I started to read this earlier, I was like, "What are you making? Why is this a thing?"
And I want to clarify, because so this was a part of a push from Marvel, and DC was doing a similar thing called Bloodlines. They were all pushing new, like hot 90s hip, edgy characters.
Like Terrax and Jack of Hearts.
Yeah.
Jack of Hearts is cool. Fuck you.
So
like-
this is Ron Mars and Joe Phillips. The only reason why I want to mention it is because this is in the middle of Ron Mars' Silver Surfer run, and he's the one who started to set the stage for Starlin to come back and bring Thanos back from the dead and set up Infinity Gauntlet.
We
So
also
this is
wrote.
like,
We also read his Green Lantern. He was the guy who wrote Kyle Rayner. After
yeah. So he wrote Emerald Twilight and the Kyle Rayner stuff. So yeah, Ron Mars this is like, even though this issue doesn't factor in, this is like part of a quintessential era of Ron Mars' career.
But just to quickly
sure.
finish the mention about this push. Legacy is the only character out of like 99 that actually survived. Like every other character disappeared like by the next year. So this is the only character that stuck around.
Really?
Yes.
All right, so it begins with the spaceship. It's the Kree, and they're looking for someone. There's actually, was it Ronan the Accuser?
Yeah, so he was
don't
the
know
bad
that
guy
yet.
in Guardians of the Galaxy, the guy with the hammer, the bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
Lee Pace, his best performance, right, guys?
He's coming back for Captain Marvel the movies. Maybe he'll be better there.
He's looking for someone, and then we have this like pale elf outlaw giving this woman who later is revealed to be Elysius.
Yeah, Captain Marvel's wife from Death of
Yeah,
Marvel.
he gives her the bracelets, and then it cuts like
The
Captain Marvel's
Negabands.
bracelets.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it cuts to like your very typical classic like alien space station where everyone says pair of grills ain't a pair of mercs. Beat that."
Lobo
And
will feel right at home in this place.
there's a triple-breasted woman, and we have this young kid who's playing cards against these like shock
It's
troopers.
Gambit.
Like,
Gambit's playing cards. Gambit with white hair is playing cards like against aliens.
yeah, and of course he's been using a hollow projector to like project his cards, and he's been cheating. So he tries to get out of there, and then they find him, and then they all just start beating the shit out of him. They're about to gank him with a knife. And then Silver Surfer shows up, and he's just like, "Stop it!" And they pull a gun on him and tell him to get some clothes.
They don't even know who Silver Surfer is. You know, Silver Surfer was like this annihilator of planets.
Yeah, and then Silver Surfer just blasts them. And then he's like, "Hey, I was looking for you, young white-haired Gambit, and you need to come with me because your mom."
He's like, "What are you, my mom?" And he's like, "I work for her." or
"Yeah,
something.
no." He says, "No, I am simply her messenger."
Yeah, it's so stupid.
And
Yes.
then he flies him back to the planet, and the mom's like, "I got a secret to tell you." And he's like, "What?" And he starts railing on about like how
No, beforehand, he does exposit. He's like, "Why? Does it have something to do with my dad, Eros,
Yeah.
Star Fox of Titan?"
Son of Mentor and brother of Thanos. My dad.
Well,
he
keep
is
in mind, most people
definitely
haven't
my
read
dad.
Death of Captain Marvel at this point. Like, it's very hard to go back and read issues back in the 90s. So they have to explain all this because no one will know what this fucking character is or what his backstory is.
sure.
But we mentioned last time that Elysius was, like Captain Marvel told Star Fox, aka Eros, please take care of Elysius for me. And now this guy's saying, "Oh, my dad, Eros." Fuck that guy.
Yeah, so he comes back here and she's like, I have something to tell you. His name is Genus, and she refers to him as like Jenny.
Yeah.
But your dad is actually Captain Marvel. I was so lonely that after he died, I went to the computer and took some of the DNA samples and basically fertilized myself with them.
Yeah.
And then there's a weird ass page where she's like, and your dad, when he died, he told Eros that to take care of me, so like he's always there for me. But there's a page of her pregnant. It's like a half a page spread of her pregnant with a really creepy smiling Star Fox rubbing her belly while he's on his knees.
Yeah, it's the facial expressions that are in this one and the next one. The facial expressions are so
Can't
weird.
let you do that, Star Fox.
And we never clarify Star Fox looks like. He looks like a fucking devil, like with red.
He's he's like
He looks like James McCloud in F-Zero.
Yeah, I don't remember how it looks like.
All right. So, and then he gets born, and then because you can't just have like a 22-year-old kid running around when it's only been 3 years after he died, they...
well, that's what the editorial decision was for. The writers were like, we can't have a baby Captain Marvel, and we can't have him age naturally, because comics characters never age. So we have to make up this bullshit explanation where he was artificially aged to protect him from Captain Marvel's enemies.
Yeah, and he was given fake memories so he'd never question it.
I don't think that science is as much bullshit since she got his DNA from a computer. Like, I was like, okay, they could have artificially
It's just
aged him, I guess.
But they have it's like because they do explain like the living computer was like trying to study. They got like a mapping of Captain Marvel's
Ryan, why
DNA.
even have her be pregnant? Why can't you just put the two DNAs
That's
together
true.
and then
That's true.
put
There
out
might
a
be
fully formed Captain Marvel?
There might be a psychological thing that she wanted to experience.
And then there's no, then you don't, Star Fox doesn't get to like rub the pregnant belly that he loves so much.
she needed that. That's what she's looking forward to.
Poor Phil. So she gives him the box and she's like, here, I don't like... You have the choice now whether or not you want to be Captain Marvel.
I'm a woman, so I can't be Captain Marvel. You, man, white man, have to be Captain Marvel.
Yeah, only men wear negabands. So then Silver
I think so.
Surfer's...
What's literally true? I think there's no female negaband wearer.
Yeah, when Quasar in Annihilation Conquest, but that doesn't matter.
Quasar, who is the
Quasar.
doesn't matter right now.
No, but it doesn't matter because Quasar is the fourth Captain Marvel.
Cool. Okay. So Silver Surfer's standing outside and he gets ambushed by Ronan. And this is going on, like Ronan breaks through the door as Genus is trying to think about whether or not to be Captain Marvel. And then he like hollow projects a fake Captain Marvel at him to take him off guard because he grabbed his mom.
I thought that was a clever twist because he pretends I'm going to give it to you, but then she's it's a hologram because they set it up with the hologram before.
Yeah. Like as long as you like seed in earlier the mechanism.
I thought that was good.
So then he puts on the negabands and it's like, yeah, his legacy lives on. You get a big him like standing up with big choom in the background.
Yeah.
Oh wait, you forgot this Pizza Hut pizza with all the extras X-Men had.
Yeah.
Where Wolverine says, "We're not talking anchovies, bub." Kids pizza pack $2.99.
Man, I've never in my life wanted to go and like get a deal so badly. You get fucking comic books, a fucking mat, fucking. It's fucking awesome.
Genus fights.
As I saw this, I'm like, this is Sly's dream. He's crying that he can't be there right now.
Genus fights Ronan, but Ronan beats him up and smacks him with his hammer and is about to kill him. And
Did you explain why Ronan's after him?
It's because
the Negabands. He wants the Negabands.
Well, he also says that your father was a traitor, so I will punish you in a way that.
But he wants the Negabands to bring the Kree back to life.
Yeah, he wants to be Captain Marvel. Like he
ran into this kid and he's like, "Oh, great! I can kill."
Yeah, now I can kill this traitor's dad. This is great.
Ronan's like, everybody else gets to be Captain Marvel. Why can't I be Captain Marvel?
Yeah. Why does everyone find this rare ancient Kree weapon in the middle of nowhere, but I can't? Why am I?
How come the Kree don't get this, guys?
Sorry, he is Kree. He's half Kree, you dickhead. So.
Yeah. So Silver Surfer comes up behind him and zaps him, and then Ronan's like, "I'm teleporting away because villains can't die in our stories." and Captain Marvel's
we gotta be back for Guardians of the Galaxy later. Bye, guys.
Yeah. And then Genus/Legacy is like, I have to go be Captain Marvel and find my own way, and he flies away. And then cries at his dad's grave. And it's like, I will be a worthy successor to the legacy of Captain Marvel. And that's where that issue ends.
And it says end, and thanks and respect to Starlin. So he was just Legacy for a while, but then they're like, no, he has to be Captain Marvel for real. So they gave him his own series this is like, they bring it up that Monica was still Captain Marvel around this time. and Fabian Nicieza is the writer. He's actually
worst writing we've ever read.
It's funny because Nicieza is actually a pretty good writer.
Yeah?
He's one of the few reasons why people give a shit about Deadpool. Like, he was the one who like really kept that character alive. Like, he's a very
I'm sitting here, I'm
90s
like, this makes sense. It would make sense for this guy to write Deadpool.
You've got to be busting my bejuvi.
Yeah, so Nicieza is one of the most 90s writers ever, but the thing is, he actually does have character moments in his works.
I like Nicieza a lot. I would not judge his style based on this issue.
Yes, this is not a good example. Like,
Is
this
it
is-
okay to judge
this-
the penciler Ed Benes?
Yeah, so
based
he's very
on this
90s.
issue?
But to back up what Ryan said, this series only lasted 5 whole issues, and it didn't get to finish. This story was never finished.
I think it
never
was
got
6
to
issues.
Is it 6 issues?
Whatever.
Because spoilers, I was looking at some of the other issues.
All right, so 6 issues. The story never ever gets resolved ever.
Yeah.
So the only thing I want to point out, the cover is like with a big like ghostly the original Captain Marvel standing in the background while his son pours, I think it's a beer out on
It
his
is.
grave,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's
He's
this
just
He's
like
literally
out a 40.
pouring out a 40 for his dead homie. That's what he says later on, pretty much.
Yeah, but it is a very thick white liquid that's coming out of this can. So I was just like, great, I get to watch this guy pour fucking cum all over his dad's grave.
So-
Let's do this.
So this is called "Why is the Sky Blue?" and other questions kids ask their parents. And it starts with Rick Jones getting punched in the face
Always
by Legacy.
Good start.
by Legacy or Genus if you're his bud. And this is repeated in every other like issue that I saw. Is when it introduces like, look, it's Genus or Legacy or Genus if you're his bud. And he's mad because Rick Jones sandwiched him. As in he
says he says
can't
you
read
sandwiched
this
me,
again.
but Rick Jones says I think you mean I sandbagged you.
So-
So he had Gennis show up on his talk show, and like Rick Jones is kind of a piece of shit in this episode. It's this issue. He's just like, all I care about is ratings, and me and my wife are trying to get
He
hot
is
ratings for
a huge.
our-
I was waiting for the turn where he's like he did it for a heroic reason, and no, he's a piece of shit the whole issue.
Yeah, he's just a dick. Like Gennis
Yeah.
is the sympathetic one in this scenario.
Yeah, he came to get his help because like Legacy's trying to find his way in this, which is why he went to Rick Jones since he knew his dad and everything.
Yeah, so this year before this, he got framed for like the murder of like an entire Shi'ar ship, and like he's on the run trying to clear his name. He goes to Mentor's like trying to have plausible deniability, but he does like guide. He does help him in the end, and he does tell him to go meet Rick Jones because Rick Jones knows his father the best. And
Oh
he'll
my
know
god, I forgot that they have a section where he goes and meets Moondragon, and then Moondragon's like, I
there's-
loved your father. There's
It's just
lot going on in this.
a lot going on.
So Moondragon is Drax's daughter.
Yeah.
Really?
And
Yeah.
Yeah, and also I don't think it was canon yet, but the next writer of Janus makes this canon. She's a lesbian, so it's funny to think. It's funny to have her saying it the whole time.
Yeah,
love
I
it.
only know like her very early stuff where she's basically asexual, and then her later stuff where she's dating Quasar, the fifth Captain Marvel.
Oh my god! And the dialogue through this whole thing, until Heather came here. I mean, Moondragon. I had no one to talk to. Says the mom. Mom, are your lobes connected? I mean, hers aren't. Moondragon's catatonic.
It's so terrible. And then you turn the page, and it's just like obviously a huge exposition page with a threatening amount of word bubbles. And
Yeah.
it's just like ugh.
But by the way, while we're mentioning ads, they have an ad for Iron Man around this time, and this is like just before they turn Iron Man into his teen self from the past. This is like right around the time. This was a,
Guys,
yeah. So as I
Guys,
mentioned,
you didn't let me finish the 90s
Yeah,
talk,
yeah.
okay? That wasn't it. Because Moondragon
Telepathically.
communicates with him,
Yeah.
and she's like, "My mind is alert, young man." And he goes, "Whoa, brain massage, body off, brain on, just the opposite of everyone else here."
Yeah,
Oh my
archive files say you and Dad were pretty tight, and then he refers to the archive later as the Kive.
this was the worst.
Excellent.
This was Marvel's worst era, but like a long shot. Like this was around when they were both going bankrupt around this time. This is when they were going bankrupt.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I wish they fucking died here.
And this, So he goes to the spot where his dad died at, where he got poisoned after Nitro was like, blowing himself up all the time. It says, so this is where you fought Nitro and got nailed by that Compound 13 nerve gas, huh? Was it worth it, Dad? I mean, dying to stop some cravat who makes pop-uppins look groovy by comparison.
I want to die reading
God,
those.
this
And
is
one thing I
not
love, they have a
good.
flashback to when he came to Rick Jones asking for help. And
Yeah.
every fucking panel, they keep fucking up which one's Rick Jones, which one's Legacy, because they have the same
Yeah,
exact
there's
hairstyle.
scenes where, because Rick Jones has brown hair and Legacy has blonde hair, and they keep having like Legacy making jokes at Legacy's expense, and I'm like, no, what?
That's so weird. And they're just talking about, like, since he's 3 years old, that he missed what was like having 70s shows and easy bake ovens. And this is where I was like, when you're like, this guy wrote Deadpool, I'm like, yeah, okay. You missed nervous dates holding an elbow in a movie theater and thinking you made it to second base. Not that that ever happened to me.
No, he goes, no, it's okay. I have memories too. My dad playing Hobjot with me till the artificial sun inside Titan went down.
Yeah.
My mom burning the Primya on Kronos Day.
Uncle Ross teaching me how to kiss by making me practice on my pet Turtog.
Well, we're just dissing Nitschez, who is a good writer. I should also mention that he was one of the other comics he was writing around the same time had a character called Night Thrasher, who is Batman if he rode a skateboard.
It's like, don't lie to me. This is not a good writer.
No, he is. Now we have
He
to
is.
redeem it because he is actually a really good writer. Like people,
No, you have to redeem it.
but
Like Slide's like, God damn it, now we gotta read more.
I'm not gonna forget. I'm not like this is a bad comic. Like this is not a fun guy. But like it's funny because he is so steeped in such a shitty era. But he actually, if you read him over time, he does have good character moments. It's just not shown here at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then he goes on. Legacy goes on Rick Jones's television show, and they have on this guy, this like guy from one of the other comics. Was he Tribite?
He's like, I was here to kill all of humanity, but Captain Marvel beat me, but he was nice about it. Ha ha ha, going back to maximum security prison. I'm like,
Yeah,
what
and
the
he's like, remember where he took you down with a sweep kick to your knees? And he's like, how could he have known that that's where a Tribite's bajoobies are?
Yes, so the whole thing becomes like a spectacle. Like Rick Jones makes a joke out of it, and
Yeah, Monica calls in.
He makes fun of him for like killing 2,000 people or whatever.
yeah, Rick Jones like make fun of the Shi'ar thing, and like he calls him like Gennis-Vell. Sorry how I said it earlier. I hope it doesn't get us bleeped.
Yeah, I thought I spent way too fucking long trying to figure out what dirty word
It's
sounds like.
genus, penis.
Oh,
Genus.
That's
I don't
good.
know.
See,
Or
it doesn't-
Ginus? Or Ginus?
Okay, Giant is very good.
I don't know.
Anyway, Monica calls in real quick and goes, like, have you ever heard of Captain Marvel from New Orleans? And he's like, no. that's the most of that scene.
That's a very obscure character. I don't think anyone heard of her.
And then like
Who's
there's
this guy
there's
with
a
is this
side,
X-Man?
There's a side plot going on with Eric the Red, who I think
Okay.
he's like an X-Men villain, right?
So Eric Wright is an X-Men villain, and I'll explain this really quickly because
God damn it,
you have to know the whole context of Adam X the X-Treme.
You don't.
Adam
good.
X, the X-Treme.
As soon as we got to this page, I was like, this is who we should be reading. Why are we wasting our time?
So Adam X the X-Treme. He has a baseball cap backwards, a mix between long hair, like Kurt Cobain hair, and dreadlocks.
Dreadlocks.
And he has spikes over his costume. He was supposed to be Nitschez's attempt to be Cyclops' third brother. No one bought it. No one wrote about this character. Nitscheza put him in every book he wrote. No one picked up on it. Everyone was like, nope, 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 nope. So, his power is when he cuts you, blood burn. Makes your blood burn. And then every time he cuts you, so he always has all these knives and cuts people open, and he says burn as he bursts into flames.
Burn to the burn to the burn to the ground.
That's a pretty cool power.
Oh my god, Phil's that two moments.
I'm gonna defend this guy. It's much cooler power than most other people who just fly around and shoot beams.
That's true.
And he
It's
kills
very
with extreme prejudice.
Yeah,
It's
Eric
event-
the Red
so-
tells him to kill with extreme prejudice.
So I was going to do this issue where they fight, but all they do is fight, so it wasn't worth it. But I did want to bring up Adam X the X-Treme because he is worth talking about.
He is so I love his design because it is a 90s ass design. It
His
is so
dreadlocks
bad.
have little like X-Men like tassels on them.
Oh yeah, and when
Yeah.
he says you have to kill Gennis. You have to kill him with extreme prejudice.
We've already said this like 20 times.
3 times. Phil, do you want to give your go?
I missed it. I was so wrapped up in explaining.
I would have you kill the son of Marvell with extreme prejudice. Sorry, my inflection was wrong.
man.
With extreme prejudice.
So okay, the final scene.
The issue ends. God, I hate this because he's sitting down and he's eating some kind of wafer and he says, "These
eating
things
Oreos.
taste like nothing more than sugar, enriched wheat, flour, partially hydrated soybean oil, high fructose
Hydrogenated.
corn syrup, and
Hydrogenous.
lecithin." And it's just
Amazing
one of
you
those things.
survived in this world. I thought calculus was bad or whatever.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where I know I can see the writer right now holding it like sideways and looking at the ingredients as he's writing the script.
And then he throws it to like a small dog and then explodes.
No, he doesn't. It doesn't explode. He punches a tree because he's so angry. Because he,
Oh, I thought he exploded the tree.
yeah, he doesn't blow up the tree.
He does.
So before we wrap up this issue, this does touch on the aspect of Gennis I think makes him a good character. Very briefly.
Sly.
At
Fuck
the end,
you.
he gets pissed off saying, "I can't be you. I always knew that, Dad." And more I'm realizing that being me just isn't good enough. And it ends with him pouring out a 40 for his homie, his dead dad.
Yeah, I was in the city called Los Angeles, Dad. They have these things called gangs. Kids
Oh
kill
my
each other.
God.
And you know, when one falls in battle, the family, in quotes, pours a beer over the spot where their comrade was slain. Well, you're my family. And this is technically where you were killed. So
So-
goodbye, Dad. And he pours out one for his homie and says, I hope that I'm trying the best I can.
Also, what a fucking hero. He leaves all the trash and the empty cans on the grave.
Yeah.
It's not
let's save the
perfect.
planet.
All right, so let's do a final recap of each issue. So what are your thoughts on Miss Marvel #1?
Skip
It was
it.
terrible.
Get out of here. Garbage. You're
Yeah.
wasting my time. I'm sorry.
Very,
It's like,
very standard. The only unique bent is the feminist angle.
Yeah,
It's a very
yeah.
traditional comic otherwise.
yeah, I need to specify it's like that. It's like I'm not hating it because I'm like, oh, there's a woman character of a man thing, but it's just like she doesn't do enough things that make her kind of like stand out as a.
It's
Yeah.
As a
so
character.
boring.
Yeah.
Also, they're giving her Spider-Man supporting cast, Spider-Man villains. It's like, it just doesn't work.
It's so half-assed. The first appearance of Monica Rambeau. Final thoughts?
Boring.
Oh, so it's just too long. Like,
Yeah,
I
too
like
long.
Roger Stern's Spider-Man a lot, but I don't think it's paced properly. I
It's
like
too
Monica's
filler.
character, but it should be half the length.
I like the idea of Monica's character, but a lot of times there's so many characters like because we read so many comics, how a lot of these characters act and are get kind of just like blur together. It's like generic nice person, like or
Yeah.
generic hero, I should say. And that's the thing is like Monica, I never felt where I was like I feel her life or she's explaining to me her life. She was just kind of like there as a vehicle for all these other things to talk about
Yeah,
their lives.
definitely.
Yes. She never, like, it never really came together. So, the Captain Marvel fights Skinhead issue.
I thought it was great. I really love that issue.
Everyone
Yeah.
else's thoughts?
I liked it. The ending, like magical, not topical thing.
Yeah.
kinda
But
took away from it
the
for
reason
me,
why
but-
I forgive it for that is because it doesn't. When they beat the villain, it doesn't just like everyone's good now.
Yes.
the guy's still a racist.
Whereas I would be like, I still have like some faults with it here and there, but you know, it's better than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. My problems are to give the Sons of Serpent better costumes, first of all. The name should make more sense. And Skinhead should not turn into a news monster. If you're gonna make him a news monster, he should seem intimidating in some way. He looks like fucking Ditto from Pokemon or something like that.
yeah.
He's got red eyes though. That's always scary.
But there's like a touch on the touching on social issues is better than it's done in most of the comics we've done so
Yeah,
far. They touch
definitely.
on this. First issue with Silver Surfer.
Skip it. Don't need
It's-
it. Boring.
It's okay. I liked it
Yeah.
better than this one.
I think it's better than your right to be. Like I said, it has some clever switch. Like the hologram thing is
I
like
kind of just hate really predictable origin stories at this point.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
too
can see
predictable.
that.
Yeah, it's very. Once you see a lot of these things, it's a dime a dozen. What's your
yeah,
thoughts,
where it's
Phil?
like Genus is like, "Why'd you call me back, Mom? Is it talking about my dad, Star Fox?" It's like, yeah, that's not your dad, and he's gonna.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
pretty boring.
Yeah.
Pretty boring.
And so the final issue. What's your thoughts on that one?
It's the best one.
garbage.
So bad.
It's so bad it's good. I might.
Yeah,
think.
yeah, it
to
was.
Me, this
It
one,
was fun to talk.
The writing in this one was like, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And that was good.
Yeah.
I think Legacy is my least favorite Marvel person so far.
We'll see next week if you feel that way. But
I agree with Daryl so far.
Yeah.
Good.
So-
I
I can't
want-
wait. God damn, you guys are gonna be so fucking blindsided next issue. Okay.
Do it.
Marvell's
Do
my
it.
favorite only because he died and had a good death.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
Marvell's the only one that had Gennis is the only one that had the title and actually was an interesting character while having the title.
So
Sure.
what I would say is, like, even though Monica's my favorite character for other reasons, and I like Carol for other reasons, based just on what we've read, Marvell is easily the best.
So prepare for me to be proven wrong, and you guys all hate my. I think you guys will be pleasantly surprised by what's coming up next, though, because it's not what this issue sets up at all.
Good.
But that's it for this episode.
Okay.
Cool. So very quickly, I know we went kind of long. I just want to briefly mention the Flying Machine Network. Everyone should listen to the new Stranger Still episode, and because Election Day came and went, and I didn't quit these podcasts, so it went okay. And they did an episode on the Electoral College. Should we keep it? Should we abolish it? And everyone should listen to that and all the other shows at the flyingmachine.network website. And while you're there, you could donate to the Patreon. Got some new episodes up. And I don't know if I've mentioned this before because we banked a bunch of episodes before my wedding, but we had some new Patreon backers. Joe Ciano, King of Kings, the greatest man. I think I thanked him already, but you know what? He more than deserves a second one. And David also backed us on
Hey,
Patreon.
thanks,
so thank you so
David.
much, David. And he said he did it just so he could hear us rip apart Heroes in Crisis. So I hope you're ready for the next time we do a Patreon episode
Oh
on it,
my
because
God.
boy, did I hate the second issue.
It's got 4 months of Heroes in Crisis.
But yeah, so if people don't know, we're alternating bonus episodes where Heroes in Crisis was the last time, then we're going to do a fun one-off this time, and then 2 episodes of Heroes in Crisis next month.
Yeah.
So yeah, jump in now. It's a great time to donate to the Patreon. Patreon.com/flyingmachine.
Yeah, the bonus episodes are actually the ones where we have the most fun, I would argue.
Yes.
We're all laughing a lot during it.
I would agree.
All right, so thank you all for listening to Divisive Issues. I've been creepily following a black cop from Louisiana.
I've been just asking to be mugged in this city filled with superheroes.
I've been terminating Ryan with extreme prejudice.
And I've been terminating Ryan with extreme prejudice.
You've got to be busting my bajoobies.
Thank God, Nudie.